When we're thinking about fall leading into winter crops, we're thinking about cabbage, kale, lettuce, all kinds of different varieties that thrive in the cool. But for a lot of us, especially down here in the South, it's still 100 degrees and it's hard to wrap your head around by the time we actually get the seeds started that it's going to be too hot and it's going to damage the plants. If you're outside daily like we are, you already know that you're starting to feel some of those cooler temperatures. So here's a few tips to help you bridge that gap between the hot days and the cool nights that we're aiming for these crops. Look for heat-tolerant varieties within cool season plants. Think about some of these crops as a succession plant and that you're going to plant some varieties of kale early, some mid, and some late into the season. Or just type in heat-tolerant cool season varieties in the search box wherever you buy your seeds. Go ahead and pay attention to the low hoops on this propagation table. If it does get too hot, it's easy to deploy a shade cloth onto here if we're going to worry about a temperature spike. So you can utilize shade cloth inside of your propagation house or outside in the field whenever you first transplant the cool season crops. You're also going to want to make sure all of your water is working perfectly. Cool season crops need that cool drink of water pretty often, but also keep in mind, don't waterlog the roots as they're trying to grow. Another tip is to go ahead and utilize a little bit of mulch for that soil retention to keep that water where it belongs instead of evaporating up into the atmosphere. Almost every single farm or garden we go to has little spots of microclimates. So if you're super worried about a particular crop that really needs that cool season, go ahead and plant in something that's going to get a little bit more shade early in the day, late in the afternoon, and that's going to relieve some of that high heat that's going to come in directly from the sun. Give them a little bit of a break. Another thing is, don't be afraid to start some seeds outside, and you can also start some of the seeds inside. Let's quickly cover some of the most popular crops and look at the germination temperatures to help you decide where you're going to start different seeds. At the coldest, spinach, with a germination temp somewhere between 35 and 75 degrees with an optimal temperature of 50 to 60 degrees. Spinach thrives in cooler soil and can germinate even at very low temperatures. It's not uncommon for some spinach specialty growers to go ahead and germinate inside of specialty cooler chambers or even a refrigerator or walk-in cooler. As you're thinking about your different germination temps, go ahead and leave a comment down below and let us know what you plan to grow. So as we're making videos over the next couple of months for the 2025 fall and winter season, maybe we can put some videos in there for you to give you some tips along the way. Up next, lettuce with a germination temp of 40 to 80 degrees with optimal of 60 to 70 degrees. So where we're at in Texas, this propagation house, it's really too hot to start lettuce here. That's why they start it inside where they grow their microgreens and it's a little bit more temperature controlled. Once the seeds are germinated, they'll go ahead and bring it out here to go ahead and start acclimating before it goes out into the hoop house. Now in September, a lot of people, especially up north, can start planting their carrots. It's too hot to direct seed a carrot here. And of course, it's too labor intensive to transplant carrots en masse. If you're a home gardener, you could probably do it, but just know that's a lot of effort and most commercial growers direct seed into the ground. Another fast growing popular crop is radishes, also direct seeded in wet soil with an ideal temperature range of 55 to 75 degrees. Kale, broccoli, cabbage, these can go up to 85 degrees with an ideal temperature range. So you may want to start those inside, but right now these have actually been grown out for a little bit longer than that, meaning that they can take a higher heat even down south. And finally, peas are a great crop to go ahead and get in early. It's super hardy. It can take an 85 degree temperature range, but if we have those cool nights, it's going to do just as fine. Cooler temperatures means it's easier on the plants, easier on the people. The longer days means you can still enjoy gardening in the fall. And we're also looking at reduced pest pressure. So as we're starting crops, especially crops where cabbage worms and things like that like to get in, they're not quite here yet, but it's something to keep an eye out of. You always have to do IPM even in cold temperatures. September also means that you're enjoying a whole second spring of crops that you already had established. So when it comes time to start ripping out some of your summer crops to make room for your next succession plantings of falls, you might want to leave your tomatoes and cucumbers because you're still going to enjoy that established crop that still loves the heat and almost enjoy a whole second spring as that comes on. This also applies to peppers and squash and zucchini varieties. It's going to be a painful decision on your part as to decide, hey, do I take out this crop that's still producing in order to make that room? I know you've cared for these all summer, but sometimes they gotta go to make room for the new babies. Behind me in this hoop house is an example of starting to clear out some of the summer crops. We're not quite done yet, but once these are out, we may pull back the landscape fabric, add new compost, maybe do a little bit of broad forking. Go ahead and test your soil pH and nutrient levels. Remember, you did that in the spring, but as the summer came on, a lot of that nutrient was uptaken into the plants, and as you water, some of that stuff percolates and dilutes down. Sometimes the winter crops are going to require just a little bit of adjustment so they can thrive, as they're different than some of the summer crops. Last but certainly not least, and probably the most important, is to take a look at that last frost date to help you analyze when you should start those indoor crops, when you should start those outdoor crops, when you plan on transplanting those out. That's really going to help you decide when to take out your summer crops, give you enough time to adjust the soil, make it a little bit more loose, make sure that all your irrigation is in place before you put those transplants in. Get those in the ground before the first frost comes in, let them get established. This is also a good time to make sure you have your frost blanket, make sure that you have proper storage in place for the shade cloth for the season. And we also want to allow plenty of time for that hardening off process for the transplants before they go in the ground. So we hope this video helped you decide what summer crops you're going to leave and what you're going to take out, and not worry so much about planting these cool season crops in the late summer when it's still a little bit hot. With some of those tips, microclimates, shade cloth, extra watering, mulch, picking the right varieties early in the season and transitioning over into a cooler season crop later on down the line through succession planting, it's going to give you a nice bountiful crop from summer to fall into winter on into next season, all while maintaining the soil health, building the soil, and providing food for you, your family, and your community. Go ahead and check out everything that we have going on here at Bootstrap Farmer. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of great webinars, particularly about larger scale growing that can always be applied down to gardening at the end of the day. We'll see you in the next video.